You fucking whore, come here, you bitches. You come here. What are you laughing at? You slut. You slut.
Okay, Doug. Okay, Doug. Anyway, welcome, goons, and welcome to Slasher Smoke Break. We haven't done one of these in quite some time, huh, Doug? I am your host, Coker, and with me is my esteemed colleague and best friend and fellow stoner, Doug Waugh. How you doing, Doug?
How you guys all doing out there in Radioland? You sluts, you whores. Now, what's all that mean? I'm not just saying that to be verbally vulgar, but there's a reason behind all that. And you're laughing. Yes. What's the fuck's with your giggles?
So for the summertime, guys, we wanted to focus more on slashers because we're called the Slashers fucking podcast. So instead of one slasher movie for Smoke Break, we decided, fuck it, let's do two slasher movies. And not only do two slasher movies, but have an ending fun hypothetical segment where instead of our ongoing DP joke, guys, it's two slashers, one final girl. But that'll be after we discuss the movies. And the two slasher movies we're going to discuss today, guys, is Girls Nite Out, a college campus slasher movie from the early 80s, and Dr. Giggles, a fun, ghoulish slasher movie from the early 90s. So, Doug, let's start it off with Girls Nite Out, a slasher movie not a lot of horror fans know about or even talk about. It's really deep cut.
It's a very deep cut, and you want to know what? This movie has an identity crisis. It doesn't know what basically, I watched these special features on it, and I know I sound like a Criterion. I watched the special features on it, but
nothing wrong with that, my man.
And now I'm going to be wearing a scarf, looking like a douchebag, and wearing high-waisted cargo pants with expensive shoes made from non-cows. Maybe I'm going off my keister here, but so Girls Nite Out was a movie that had an original title called The Scaremaker, and then the Scavenger. Basically, this movie didn't know what it wanted to be because when they made trailers for this back in the early 80s, when the whole like early slashers craze happened, Dorm That Dreamt Blood, those style movies that came out. This movie, they made the trailer to make it seem like this girl it was like a kinky horror movie where she has fantasies and they come to life. And
what? And then what it was originally going to be.
That's what the fake trailers were made for this movie. So people would go in to see it and they didn't know. They're like, oh, this movie's a killer teddy bear mascot. And the crazy thing is they didn't use this teddy bear killer in any of the advertising.
I want to see these trailers. Shit.
Yeah, they're on the Blu-ray. But yeah, so Girls Nite Out, it's a fun one, although the title lies a little bit, because there really aren't girls that go out. It's just a big scavenger hunt. Do they go out? Yeah. What would you say?
Well, I mean, the girls are out at night for a scavenger hunt, and that's where they get picked off one by one by this really misogynistic guy in a bear costume with a literal bussin haircut. Look at it. It's right behind you. He has the bussin. You've seen the memes where it's that mop of hair and it's like, you be bussin. He has that fucking hair.
He does. Yeah, this is way ahead of its time. This is a Gen Z bear before Gen Z was
before Gen Z. Yeah, what's funny is I keep seeing how Gen Z is kind of puritanical on Twitter. So it's like, and he's killing women, calling them misogynist, like, or calling them whores and shit. And I'm like, yeah, kind of Gen Z.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. So this bear was TikTok before TikTok. Go fucking figure. That's crazy.
But you know what's really cool about this bear, dude? He actually beats Freddy Krueger by 2 years in terms of using knives as claws for a weapon. He like puts steak knives through like this wooden thing, wraps it up, and then puts it through the bear costume like an actual bear claw. And he doesn't like slash at the female victims because like 90% of the victims in this movie, guys, are all women. So there's kind of a misogynistic edge to Girls Nite Out, sadly. So, but when he like kills them, he just like sticks the knives in their throat and then just goes like this while it's one second. While it's he just shakes the knives right over their neck and there's just blood going out and she's just like screaming, whore, you fucking whore. And it's like, oh, what the hell?
And like a really deep voice too, kind of like Exorcist sounding Reagan. And then they get the one shot with the girl that's like tied up in the fucking shower, and it's like the bear.
Yeah. It's a bit off. It's a bit like off. It's a bit like off center, but like as soon as you see the woman's body, she's tied up almost like it has a really misogynistic edge to it, but she's tied up and her throat is all slashed in 4 ways, and it's like, oh damn.
Yeah, this is a movie that where it takes almost like an Animal House style approach, and then like goofy characters sometimes, and then it goes into this ultra mean spirited, misogynistic stalk and kill scene.
Yeah, it's like two different tones trying to mishmash together as a movie.
Yeah, so Girls Night Out, basically what it is, it's an early 80s slasher movie that stars Hal Holbrook and his son, who is also in Creepshow 2 as Fat Stuff. From the old Chief Woodenhead. So yeah, he's Fat Stuff. Yeah. So isn't that crazy? Hal Holbrook's acting alongside his son in this movie, and then his son starting Creepshow 2 when Hal Holbrook starting Creepshow 1.
That's cute. That's cute. Plus, it was always nice to see Hal Holbrook in a horror movie, even if it's a less than stellar slasher movie. It's still nice.
Well, this movie it shows you it's like, man, Hal Holbrook shouldn't be working at college campuses. It seems like everything always happens. He plays a campus security guard.
And kids get killed, and then he's a professor in Creepshow, and then kids get killed. It's
by
nuts.
A furry monster like this. So
hold up, Doug, 1 second.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sure. One second.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, Aid, you're gonna
1 second,
this.
Doug. What's going on, dude? Sure.
No. Time to refuel. Who wants to see me finish this whole thing? It's not like
all right. Sorry about that. We're gonna have to cut that out.
What happened? You got yelled at?
No. Just I had to do some stuff.
You didn't do your chores. You're pissing in the sink.
No. It's all right. It's all right. But anyways, yeah, it's two mishmashes of a slasher movie trying to put together. At one point, all the college hijinks stuff is kind of cute and kind of adorable. You know, you have the two zany guys. You have you know what I noticed though is there's this dynamic where the main boyfriend or frat boyfriend is complaining to that older woman in the cafeteria saying these girls just aren't loyal anymore, and then she's just like, but your girlfriend, she's gonna be loyal, and he's like, yeah, you're right. And then literally the next scene he's hopping in bed with a different girl, and I'm like, what the fuck? So
well, that cafeteria lady, that's the killer in the movie. Spoiler alert.
That ends up being the killer, which is like, what the fuck? Okay.
It turns really weird at the end. Okay, so basically what's going on here, we're jumping all around here, as you can tell. Oops, excuse me.
Wow, you're the Blair one today.
Yeah, I'm bleh.
You're Blair.
Oh man. So yeah, you get this the killer, basically it's this basketball team mascot. It's a bear with the, what did you call the Gen Z hair?
The bus in here.
The bus in here with like these weird green eyes. It looks very 70s. You could when I watch this movie, I could kind of feel, I'm like, oh, that bear smells like grandma's house or something, you know?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yes,
so
it does.
That's probably what it smells like, but that's besides the point. So basically, the person who's in this mascot costume gets killed, and the killer dons the outfit, but as Coger said, he puts wood planking, duct tape, steak knives to the claw. So this bear has an actual steak knife claw. It's really fucking cool. Unfortunately, you don't really see much bear killing action until 51 minutes into the movie.
Yeah, there is some few death scenes before him. There's one like gory shovel death where you see an eyeball hang out, but it's very quick. You don't get to the actual steak knife in the throat stuff till a bit in.
Yeah, so that's the one thing, but yeah, it is what it is. There's a lot of weird characters in here. It really builds up the whole relationship thing. And honestly, like, I was watching this when I was working from home, so it was like in the background, and then I watched it again a second time because my head wasn't all in the right place, because it was like 4:30 in the morning when I was watching this.
Oh wow!
And I'm like, wait a minute, something's not right here. And so I rewinded again. I'm like, the first 50 minutes are kind of slow, but they're not slow. If you're into, like, if you want to see social horror. And what I mean by social horror is that you see how the women are treated by these athlete characters. Like the one guy, Hal Holbrook's son in this movie, he plays like, it's just kind of scary. Like, because just imagine, you didn't have your cell phone and you didn't really have cameras around to see what people can make up on. And the girl was like, oh, I'm gonna break up with you, and he's like, you're not breaking up with anyone, whore, you bitch, you slut.
In the middle of the whole party and everything,
and the party people are all just staring at him like, hey man, that's not cool. Anyway, let's go get some more beer. And just like that kind of made me a little weird, because I'm like, man, stuff like this happens. Well, it still happens, but it happened a lot during the early 80s and 70s, and no one really batted an eye to it.
Mhm.
That's what kind of made me aware. I'm like, wow, this is just normal behavior for back then. Scary
Why do you
shit.
think boomers are so fucked up?
Yeah, yeah. You want to know what? Side note here. So I had a comment from somebody. I don't even know. Like I just blocked them. I'm like, yeah, well, who is this person here? So they started following me, and then I posted something with me and Yahira, and it was a boomer because they take the picture with the sunglasses on in their truck, and
Yep.
you know, in the background.
Yep,
You know that look.
They're a conservative or a boomer, and they're doing this look
Yeah, they're doing that look, and the camera angles from down below, so you can see
down
the double
below,
chin
and they're
stuff.
in a fucking pickup truck. Yep.
Yep, I had something like that message me on Instagram because it says accept message.
Yeah.
So I never really I don't even know this person, and they're just like it's obvious that the woman gets to make all the decisions in your generation now. Like men don't wear the pants in marriages anymore. I'm like, what the fuck is this boomer talking about?
Over a picture of you two?
Over a picture, yeah. I forget.
What was
forget
the
what
picture?
It was. It was like us feeling. Basically, it's just saying like, oh, men gotta beat their wives now. That's how it used to be, and I'm mad that it's changing in this country. You know, it's that kind of
just
mentality.
A regular picture of you two together?
I think it was. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was just over time.
What was he expecting? Like you hitting her and shit, and they'll be like, "Oh, that's a man." Well, fuck you, boomer. If that's your attitude,
that's how these boomers
mindset.
think. Like a lot of them are like, back in my day, we
how do you like? You know what's funny is like I somehow attract like Kyle's and fucking bro pieces of shit. You attract a lot of boomer pieces of shit.
Maybe it's the Ohio connection. I don't know. a lot of cranky boomers.
I think Ohio. Yeah, Ohio follows you. You know.
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, I'm not judging everybody in Ohio, but I'm just saying there were a lot of cranky boomers. It's like this country's going to hell because I can't beat my wife no more. Now I gotta cut the grass every day. Yeah. So
well, that makes sense because Girls Nite Out actually takes place in Ohio.
Yes, it does. Maybe that's why the misogyny was so strong.
I looked at the university and said, "Do it, University Ohio," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, this all makes sense."
Well, I got to tell you, so in the beginning too, the guy that plays in the mascot character before the killer wears it, he was kind of like Pervy the bear.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was like humping on the cheerleaders and stuff. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm about to come," and yeah, it was just kind of like he was the sexual harassment panda from South Park. That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it also had a heavy use of the song "Yummy, Yummy, Yummy, I Have Come in My Tummy." Yeah, but it's
you know what's funny is this movie, as much of its one half a zany college prank film with relationship dynamics and another half misogynistic, creepy, fucked up slasher movie. There's a lot of oldies music throughout. It's just oldies music played throughout the whole damn movie.
Yeah, and it was yummy, yummy, yummy. Yep. I have come in my tummy. That's what they were saying, right? Yep.
That and a lot of Loving Spoonfuls, like Summertime in the City, a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I did like the fact, however, they were all running around with their little hand radios, kind of like listening for a scavenger. Because basically the plot is very simple. A boyfriend, girlfriend break up, and it's this college frat house. And so you're going through this whole thing where it's a police procedural where they think like, oh, someone donned this bear outfit and they're going around killing women and calling them vulgar names and misogynistic names. So it must be the guy who was beating up his girlfriend because she broke up with him. And no, that honestly doesn't go anywhere because when they reveal who the killer is, the killer's just kind of, I'm like, oh, yeah, I saw you 2 scenes. It was almost like a Roy thing, like from Friday the 13th, part 5.
You know what's funny, dude, is and then she opens up a spoiler after she reveals herself in the bear costume, and she's like, "They're all dirty whores," and her voice changes in kind of a creepy way. And Holbrook is just sitting there, just going like, "Oh my god, this doesn't make any sense." And she opens the door, and her brother who killed himself is behind there in like a suit, and the corpse is doing like a creepy psycho thing, and then it just ends.
Yeah, and the corpse is wearing the bear arm with the knives.
Yeah, and it's like, what the fuck? What?
Yeah, the killer. Well, Dickie Cavanaugh was the bad guy in this movie, and it's not really like he's not really mentioned. So it's just kind of like, why would they bring up this killer here? I mean, it would make more of a interesting dynamic if it went the whole Scream route. You know what I mean? Where it was like the boyfriend or.
It's like the ending of this movie didn't know how to end itself, so they were just like, "Fuck it, let's just make it creepy."
Well, have you ever seen this movie called Fatal Games? It's like another.
No, I haven't.
So the killer in that movie, it's great. Like this reminded me of it because I always think it's creepy. Like in Terra Firma, like when the killer reveal and you realize it's like 2 personalities in one and they change voices.
Okay.
Like in Terra Firma when she's like, it's like, I have no pee.
Yes.
And what was it in Fatal Games? The killer is I think the killer was transsexual, or he changed to her because the old one was the killer. So it was almost like, oh, in this movie it's the brother and sister.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like two personalities in one, like changing it. Like they changed their voice. I always thought that was super creepy when they like change their voice, like how they do in this one here, where it's like, I have the brother's voice in my body. No, please don't hurt. You know what I mean? It's just so creepy.
So that's effective for you.
Yeah. But I do have to say, so I watched all the special features on this disc. I got a little rant for you. And this is for people. So if any producers listen on like who do like Vinegar Syndrome or Severin or Severin doesn't really have this problem, but Arrow has it. So for example, when you make behind the scenes and you interview people about the movie, I want to know about the fucking movie. I want to know, the information about it, the making of it. They go and interview some of the actresses from this movie, like side actresses that are just like, oh, I graduated. I was doing this. And it's like a 25-minute interview. And they only talk about the movie for the last 3 minutes. And they're talking about themselves. I went to community college and did stage plays. And I was on a few commercials. And you know what I mean? It's just like, I don't want to hear that fucking shit. And then they go into, they're like, when they say, oh, how was it on the set? Oh, they were nice. It was good. This was good. They were nice. I don't want to hear it was fucking nice. That's so boring. It's like, give me the cheese or give me nothing,
Exactly. Doug, you need the cheese. You're just like cheese. Ah.
Yeah, I'm like Leprechaun when they say cheese, man. I do me go.
But would you recommend this movie, Girls Night Out, to horror fans, or would you just recommend it to like slasher purists?
Ooh, because the thing is, a lot of people who are watching this as a regular movie, they'll probably be bored by it. But if you're a slasher purist and enthusiast of the early, like I said, Dorm That Dripped Blood, House on Sorority Row,
Final Exam.
Yeah, Final Exam, like those very early slasher movies.
And those are all college campus slashers.
Yeah, so it had that running theme. If you're into that and want to complete the collection, do it. This killer is so fucking cool, and I don't think it's utilized enough in the movie.
You're right. When you think about it, how many like sport mascot slashers are there?
Well, none that I can think of off the top of my head, but I feel like if they were to still do it, it would be kind of goofy. Well, Night of the Dribbler. Have you ever seen Night of the Dribbler?
No, but I talked about it on the Gutter Balls episode. And if you think about it, Ryan Nicholson, who made Gutter Balls, also did Famine, which is kind of a mascot killer.
Yeah, but I don't think any of the mascot killers were cool enough to have steak knives as fucking bear claws.
Yeah, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, so yes, I would recommend it. It's on Arrow Blu-ray right now. You could rent it on YouTube for like $1. $2. $2. But I'm sure in a few months it'll be on Tubi to watch. I really enjoyed this one here, and like I said, the movie itself is kind of flatlining a bit for me. Unless like you're into like the really shocking like misogynistic like ways the characters treat themselves in the first like 40 minutes of the movie. And it's a fun time. I think I enjoyed it more than Yahira did because she kept falling asleep. But that's what you get. You win some, you lose some with that. But I would do it. And the thing is, I would love if they made, I know it would never happen, but if they made like a plush figure or like a Funko Pop of this
that would
bear.
Be cool. Yeah, that would be cool.
With the bussin' haircuts.
With the bussin' haircut and the steak knives as a weapon. Yeah.
Yeah, this killer is just so fucking cool, and it's not used enough in here. So what do I give it? I give it 2 out of 5 stars. No, 3.
That's 3. That's 3. That's better than The Black Phone. That movie was like, what the fuck was this? But anyways.
Or they shoved the phone up their ass? The brown phone.
That would have made a more interesting movie than what I saw in the theaters. But anyways, I give it a 2.5 out of 5, Yeah, it was just a little lacking for me, to be honest.
It was. And like I said, it would have been so much better if the killer was more shown. But I do like the killer's voice, and the bear claws is just a win for me. Like, oh man, they should make another movie with this fucking outfit. Like, that's such a cool. This would be a good Dead by Daylight killer,
Oh, that would be pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
His moray is him just doing it on the girls, but no matter what the character is screaming horror, and it's like, ugh.
Well, no, he would just say horror, bitch, slut, and they're just like, you're triggering me. And they give the bear the finger, and that's the Maury. So. Okay, well, you got another cool killer, and I actually love this movie too. I rewatched it again on VHS, which is probably the best way to watch this.
So before we see the title of the second movie, so was it good on VHS too?
Your movie, Dr. Giggles?
Yes. So the second movie, guys, is an early 90s slasher. Yes, guys, before Scream, there were slasher movies in the 90s too. And this is a really fun, ghoulish slasher movie that's incredibly 90s before Scream, but not even horror fans barely talk about this one. And that one, guys, is Dr. Giggles from 1992, starring Larry Drake and directed by Manny Cotto. This is a fucking fun slasher film.
Yeah, and you want to know what? It's weird because I've seen Dr. Giggles like a few times before, and every time I watch it, it's like, oh my God, this is awesome. And then when it's over, I forget about it a bit. But every time I watch it, I'm sitting, I watched this again the other day working from home, and I plugged in the VCR. I'm like, and I couldn't keep my eyes off. I'm like, wow, this is Dr. Giggles is such a fun movie. It's almost like a Tales from the Crypt movie. It should have been.
It really is. It really is. You know what's funny is Dr. Giggles has that sort of feeling and aesthetic and sort of ghoulish, fun tone throughout that makes it perfect as a Tales from the Crypt Presents movies. If you seriously film Crypt Keeper segments in the beginning and end of Dr. Giggles, you would say that was a Tales from the Crypt slasher movie. It fits right in with like Demon Knight and Bordello of Blood too. It's such a fun slasher. What I also love about Dr. Giggles though is how incredibly early 90s it is too. All of those teenagers look 90s as fuck.
Yeah, he's got like the surfer curls and
a backwards hat.
The backwards hat. He looks a lot like the characters from a Goofy movie, the one that's like leaning tower of cheese.
Yes, all of the characters look like they're fucking human versions of Goofy movie characters. It's that 90s. The girlfriend has like a blue, white floral 90s dress and shit. And one of the guys, this girl's like, and the high school scene in the beginning where there's the two blonde hair guys and they're like, look, it's Twin Peaks over there. Let's climb. I'm like, oh my God. It's so, guys, if you want like cheeseball YA teen 90s shit before Scream, Dr. Giggles is where it's at. If you want that 90s teen slasher.
And the Twin Peaks guys, they were like two twins and they had the bowl haircuts.
The bowl haircut that are bright blonde. I'm like, holy shit.
They went past this, it'd be a school shooter look. So
yeah, but early 90s, that was hot, you know.
Who the fuck thought bowl haircuts were good? Like, what the fuck? It looks like a thumb. It looks like those characters from Crash Bandicoot, like the native cannibal people.
The native cannibal.
I'm like, who thought that was a good look?
Oh, Jesus. But this movie also gets very schlocky too. Like, what I love about Dr. Giggles is not only is Larry Drake kind of brings it as a creepy killer who can do really mean-spirited, ghoulish kills. Like when he gets the redheaded girl in the lingerie and opens the mouth, there's a really cool shot of like through the girl's mouth with the teeth opening up.
Yeah, it's like Little Shop of Horrors.
Little Shop of Horrors. And then he straight up shoves a fucking like spike underneath her tongue into her skull. And I was like, God damn. And then he does like a quibby bad one-liner right after such a mean-spirited ghoulish kill. And you're like, oh, this is...
And he does it so straight faced too. Like he's just like, you think that's bad now? Wait till you get my bill.
I know. And it's like, Jesus Christ, that was a mean, fucked up kill. And then he cuts off one of the guy's dick. And you know what's the kill that always got to me? Because I actually saw Dr. Giggles. Okay, this is for our older California listeners. If you guys remember Hollywood Video, I rented it on VHS from Hollywood Video in 2005. And I remember the death scene that really got to me is when the stepmom gets sad that the dad left, which is like, okay. And she's eating the ice cream and which is actually that actress, dude, is played by Michelle Young, who is in Waxwork.
Yeah, that is. She's the one like, dig it. I do what I want when I want. Dig it or fuck off.
And she's here in Dr. Giggles and she gets a really gruesome death. Dr. Giggles ties her up and then has like this tube with a spinning 3-pronged blade in it and shoves it right down Michelle Young's throat and then activates the blade and you just see all the blood gush out into the ice cream. And it's like, oh, damn.
Yeah, she got roto-rooted.
She got roto-rooted. It's like, fuck. So there's these fun, ghoulish death scenes throughout Dr. Giggles that gives it that sort of fun, popcorn Saturday night Tales from the Crypt vibe that I really dig. Also, dude, I'm sorry, I really honestly love Dr. Giggles. I really think this is a gem of the 90s, guys. How'd you like that scene where the boyfriend gets seduced by the girl in the dress and she's like straight up blowing the fucking saxophone? And I was like, what?
Yeah, and it just seems like that. Like it's serious, but it's also tongue in cheek too. Like they're like, let's just make a slasher movie that you know the kid killers, like what happens in here is like, these characters are all just gonna fucking die.
Yeah.
So but one of my favorite parts is the Karen lady who walks the dog.
Oh yeah.
That's that same lady from The Mask, the one that comes out with the face mask and the shotgun.
Keep it down.
Yeah, keep it down. I tell you.
And it's so cool because Dr. Giggles like shoves the thing up her nose and it's like, and it just goes like that. And it's so cool.
Yeah. And she basically, she's like this Karen character, and she goes up to this girl that has, I think she had heart cancer or something, doesn't she?
Yeah, the main final girl, which is a virginal brunette, because it's a fucking slasher movie, and so many so many 90s final girls, with the exception of Sydney and Jamie from I Know What You Did Last Summer, were virginal brunettes, and this one's no different. She just has like a heart condition.
Yeah, and she has like your little thing that looks like an iPod. It's like her hot monitor, and then the Karen lady comes out. She's like, "That's the strangest looking radio I've ever seen. What is it?" And she's like, "Leave me alone." And she's like, "Bitch."
Yes, it's like, what?
Like, no, lady, you're being the bitch. You just came up and grabbed this lady's heart monitor, and you're asking her what it is, and you're calling her a bitch when she doesn't want to tell you.
Yeah, the drama in this is quite something.
Yeah, well, I got to give it up for Larry Drake. Like, Larry Drake also played Killer Santa Claus in Tales from the Crypt.
Mm-hmm.
He plays
All
a great killer all through
Yep.
the house. Dark Night of the Scarecrow.
Also, he was the crazy mobster bad guy in the first Darkman. The first two Darkmans. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, Larry Drake's just a really solid. He never got as much attention as I wish he had, but like he's just a great character, and he can be funny too because he's also in the Mr. Bean movie.
Yeah,
yeah, he's in there as a security guard. But yeah, Larry, give it up for Larry Drake. He's like this the uncover, like he should be up there with like Candyman and stuff.
He should. He should. But what do you think about that saxophone seduction scene?
Oh, it was sexy. I wanted to fuck the saxophone.
You didn't give a shit about the girl, like that saxophone.
Yeah, I'm ready to get mid-shaft gashes in this thing. So.
Oh, but anyway, the movie then turns into some nod. You know what's really surprising watching it after so many years, dude, is the movie then takes some nods from like Universal Monsters, because he like straight up carries the final girl like the old monsters and stuff too. And I'm like, oh, what the hell? And he like leaves after killing a few other people like a straight up monster would take his final girl to his lair and shit.
Yeah, and it is like a Universal monster movie. Like if turn this movie black and white, like maybe that would change it up a bit.
Maybe that would work. Also, how'd you like that flashback scene with the kid Dr. Giggles ripping himself out of the mom's corpse?
Oh, that was good too. Yeah,
like, that's a crazy scene.
So I didn't get. So the dad put the son in the mom's stomach, right?
Yes, to hide him from the angry villagers. Which again, Universal monster. There's angry villagers in the background.
Yeah, and it's the old dilapidated house as well too. So
yeah, and then but that scene where he rips himself out of the mom's body and he's covered in blood is so Tales from the Crypt. So it's almost like Tales from the Crypt Presents made a slasher movie that took some cues from Universal Monsters.
Yeah, and definitely. So another cool thing in here too is the opening. When you get it's Wrong Turn 4 did this. A lot of movies have done it since then, but I always love movies where they start the chaos and you think the character is normal. Another one I like is Don't Look in the Basement, or Don't Look in the Basement, where they had this at the end. But this one, you see in the characters as normal. You think Dr. Giggles is like doing the open heart procedure, and then he like just stabs the patient's heart. And then you get the people looking from the top, and then in a few minutes you realize it's like, oh shit, those are all the mental patients, and they all broke out. Dr. Giggles let them out, and now Dr. Giggles is out. I love that stuff. It gets right to the point.
Yeah, it gets right to him escaping the mental asylum.
So this movie came to theaters, or was it straight to video?
I think it actually went to theaters, dude.
Oh, I would have loved to see this in the theaters. Like this would have been a fun. Like you don't get movies like this anymore. All you get is Marvel crap, or the only exception I could say that I was fanning my nuts over it when I saw it in the theater was The Strangers Pray at Night, which is like the closest thing to like a slasher movie.
Also, dude, I saw X in the theater, and that was a 70s. That was a 70s slasher movie. So we're getting our slasher movies. We're just not getting 90s slashers.
Yeah. So
that's not true. Scream 5.
I didn't like Scream 5. Blow me. So yeah, but no, I think the closest thing to that would be like Strangers Pray at Night in terms of like newer things. But yeah, Dr. Giggles, you just don't get. So just imagine if like the Santa Claus from Tales from the Crypt was a doctor
with Giggles after murdering people.
Yeah, I do like the scene later on when he just keeps going after this girl for What was the reason he was going after this girl?
Because his mom died of like a heart problem, and he thinks that like fixing the girl's heart problem, I don't know,
Okay, because I think when he goes to like the hospital at the end, they just let him in, and they're like, he pulls out his bag, and it's like all these,
and there's all these like bladed spiked contraptions.
They all look like saw traps and stuff.
Yes, they.
And then the doctor's like,
doctor.
Yeah, he's like, I've never seen instruments like that. It's like, oh, they're new and improved. They just made them. Although I haven't tested them out. And he like shoots it, and it goes in the doctor's face and pulls his glasses off. He's like, yep, works just fine.
Yes, there's a sort of schlocky goofiness to it all too.
Oh, it's great. Like the more I think about it, I'm like, man, I want to watch this. It's just so much fucking fun.
It's a really fun early 90s slasher movie. And it really sucks that a lot of horror fans hardly talk about it.
No, and I was looking for it. Like I said, I pulled out my VHS tape because I had it. But the DVD is long out of print.
Yeah, I'm happy I have that DVD. Ooh.
Yeah. And then there's a German Blu-ray of it. I could get that because it's region free. I have a region
the German Blu-ray actually has some really cool cover art too. But yeah, my friend Kevin, who did those video store shorts up in Canada, he was complaining like, where the hell is the North American Blu-ray of Dr. Giggles?
Yeah, who knows? Who's doing Warner Brothers releases now? I don't know. Like
Shout Factory?
Shout Factory doing some with Universal. Maybe they'll do some Warner Brothers ones. But yeah, this is a movie that really needed, because they did Deadly Friend.
Mm-hmm. If they did Deadly Friend.
Yeah. Oh, Dr. Giggles really. So whoever's listening out there, please give us a Dr. Giggles, because it is so much fucking fun. This is better than like Bordello of Blood or what that third Tales from the Crypt movie. I don't remember.
God, Rituals. Yeah. If this was the second or even the first Tales from the Crypt Presents movie, I would have been fine with it.
Yeah. So shout out to Dr. Giggles and Larry Drake, because this is a movie that you guys should search out. You could rent it. It's not on Tubi for free, but you can rent it streaming. It's just a really good, like you will enjoy it. I guarantee you. It's better than Girls Nite Out.
Yeah.
Girls Nite Out is just like your early 80s slashers with not really much slash until the end, but a really cool fucking killer that you don't really get. But in Dr. Giggles, you get Dr. Giggles throughout the whole fucking
Dr.
movie.
Giggles, it just starts with the killings right then and there.
Yeah, and if you like Larry Drake being evil, then this is the best spot here.
Yeah, dude. So. Dr. Giggles is one hell of a fun, ghoulish slasher movie, guys, and a gem of the 90s, and you all should really sit down and watch it. You know what's cool, Doug? Both of these movies actually take place in the summertime. So we are Baca. What is Baca saying?
Baca goes a vote for the misogynistic bear. So
now I'm voting for Giggles.
I'm voting for Giggles too. So you hear that, Mr. P? Shut the fuck up. Go sit in your bed. You lose. Dr. Giggles wins. Okay.
Anyways, I would suggest these are two summertime slasher movies our listeners should definitely check out this summertime, especially Dr. Giggles. Now, Doug, because it's our slasher month, I had an idea of, since we're doing two slasher movies, and you and I always have our ongoing DP joke, why not we do a segment where we make our own slasher movie with both of these slashers together, trying to hunt the same final girl in the same final location. So it's two slashers, one final girl.
Like two horses, one pail.
But it's our version. So
you're saying this contest is going to end in buckets of cum, right?
Oh man. Anyway, guys, here it is. Two slashers, one final girl. Anywho, so Doug, one final girl, two slashers at the same time. So I didn't want us to pick the final girl or the place. I felt that was unfair. So I asked Mikey, hi Mikey, to pick the final girl and the place. And Mikey picked Julie James from I Know What You Did Last Summer in the town of Sleepy Hollow on Halloween night 2022. But Julie James is her age from I Know What You Did Last Summer. So it's a late teens, I Know What You Did Last Summer final girl on a Halloween night in Sleepy Hollow with Dr. Giggles and the bear from Girls Nite Out. Now, how would the storyline be? Doug, I have an idea. What's yours?
Okay, now let me just make it clear, because it's been a long time since I've seen I Know What You Did Last. Is that the girl that says, "What are you waiting for?"
That's her.
Okay, well, we'll be using that a lot. What are you waiting for? You're in my waiting room, young lady. Maybe Dr. Giggles.
That would be a good one. I thought about a storyline. What if she wants to get away from any type of an ocean area because of the killings from the first two movie? Hear this. So she decides to take a Halloween break with a few new friends over to Salem, Massachusetts. She gets over there. She's enjoying all the Halloween festivities, but let's say an old friend of the young killer from the second I Know It Dude Led Last Summer has followed her all of these years and has actually tracked her down to the Salem town and dons a bear costume and puts the knife through. But little does he know that Dr. Giggles has been hopping from town to town, and now he's in Salem, and he sees Julie James and thinks it's similar to the final girl from the original Dr. Giggles. So should we add in some death scenes before they both try to hunt her down?
Well, I thought it was going to be like she goes to a furry convention and someone in the bear costume, an angry incel, gets mad, dons the bear costume, and then she realizes she has to go get her OBGYN, and Dr. Giggles is in town. So
okay, I like your movie.
So
better.
It's like a hentai furry convention that they go to. So this comes out of the anime convention, this bear.
Okay, so she's in the office of her OBGYN and she's screaming, "What are you waiting for, huh?" And then Dr. Giggles arrives going, "Ma'am, you're in the waiting room."
Oh, it's like time for a cold one. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Because when you put the scapula in. Yes. Oh, and then this bear also, since it's the bussin haircut, this bear is also everyone sees the bear. It's like, oh my god, can I get a picture? Because it's a SoundCloud rapper.
And every time somebody takes a picture with him, he kills them in brutal ways, going, "Fucking whore, fucking bitch."
Yeah, you simp. So,
yes, he kills the guys calling them simps. That would be a modern day version. And he's just leading his way to Julie James in the OBGYN ran by Dr. Giggles.
Yeah, and he's like, "Julie James, I thought this was Jenna Jameson." So at the end of it, the bear's trying to find Jenna Jameson because it's the simp incel inside the anime convention, straight bussin' bear with steak knives. And he gets at the end of it, the bear's not killed. The bear's arrested because the steak knives that he stole from Longhorn Steakhouse, the cops arrested him for stealing those steak knives.
Okay, hold up. He has to make it to the OBGYN and confront Dr. Giggles or try to kill Julie James while Dr. Giggles is there. How would that storyline go on?
So the bear would go in there and be like, "You bitch, you whore," and then Dr. Giggles would go like, and he's like, "Stop laughing at me. It's not funny."
Oh, Julie James would be like raising her arms going, "Stop laughing at me, you."
Yeah, what are you waiting for? Stop. Oh man, this would actually be a mess. All three characters are crazy.
They are. So what if we make that scene 5 straight minutes of her screaming, "What are you doing?" And Dr. Giggles is giggling and the bear is just cursing at her for 5 minutes.
And then all these doctors and orderlies come in and they're just like, it's a nut house in there. Have you seen this place? We gotta arrest the doctor. And then finally it would be this fight, like a Mortal Kombat style fight with the three of them.
No, so it would be like a wide shot and they're all on each side.
Yeah, and then Dr. Giggles, when he gets punched with the steak knives on the side, and Dr. Giggles would say, "Is there a doctor in the house?"
Okay, now how would Julie James survive both Dr. Giggles and the bear? Dr. Giggles will have to do something to Julie James.
And Julie James, basically, she would have to get an epidural needle, and she's like, "Wait, put this on my other lips." And Dr. Giggles is like, "I'm not a plastic surgeon. I'm not qualified for this shit. Where do you think you are, in Beverly Hills?" And then basically Dr. Giggles his mind would short circuit. He's like, I never practiced this in medical school. And then the bear, basically what would happen is, I lost my train of thought. the bear character would finally get enough of it and just say, like, he would come out of the bear costume. I really forgot what I was going to say.
Well, he's a bit of an incel, so
yeah. So he's going to subreddit to post this stuff. It's weird, kind of sidetracked, but that, not to make a joke of it, but that guy who shot up the 4th of July parade, I didn't know. Oh my
god, dude.
I saw that basically that's how the killer would look inside this outfit here. But when I was watching the news, I didn't have the volume on because I haven't been watching the news. I'm just like, I don't want to hear bad news. It's the same thing. Gas prices are expensive, everything else. And they kept showing this picture of this guy. And I'm like, who is this? This is like a new SoundCloud rapper. And then I finally put the volume. I'm like, oh, that's the fucking guy who shot up the 4th of July parade.
Oh, so you could picture him in the bear costume.
Yes.
Okay, so then he'll be coming out going, "No, fuck this,"
Yeah, fuck this, man. I got important shit to do. So, well, and the thing is, he just wanted his name blasted too. Like the character in this bear outfit, It's just like, what, man? And at the end of it, he's oh, I know how he defeats the bear. I'm going to go back to my train of thought.
Okay, how does Julie James defeat the bear?
So Dr. Giggles is like spasming out on the floor, laughing to death because he doesn't know how to do plastic surgery. And then the simp bear bussin' hair, that's simp bear bussin' hair with his steak knives. He's about to stab her. And then she's like, wait a minute. I made my OnlyFans free for 24 hours. Here you go. And he's like, oh. And so he goes outside to go masturbate with the steak knives.
And that's where the cops catch him.
The cops catch him like, you have a warrant out for your ass because you stole 4 steak knives from Longhorn Steakhouse.
All these bodies everywhere, and the cops are focused on that.
Yeah, like we followed the dead bodies here, and they led us to our trail. You thief. You.
Okay, so he's out. Dr. Giggles is out, and then Julie James ends it with looking up to the sky, screaming, going, "What are you waiting for?"
And God's like, "Nothing. Just go do what you're gonna do, bitch." That's what God would say.
End credits. Okay, there we go.
So she saved her life by making her OnlyFans free for 24 hours.
Oh God!
It's like those porn sites, or those not even porn sites. I get them on Google now. Like just in my Google news feed, it'll say things like this teacher made her OnlyFans free for 24 hours. Like what the fuck? That's not a headline. You know?
You get that from Google?
Yes. It's like breaking news.
Wow.
News. Gas prices all high. Teacher makes her OnlyFans free for 24 hours.
It certainly feels dystopian, doesn't it?
Well, no, like I remember stuff like that happened when the war with Ukraine started breaking out with Russia, and it's like Russia this, Ukraine this. Teacher makes her OnlyFans free for 24 hours. That's our fucking world.
Yeah, Jesus. Anyway, guys, that was the first of our two slashers, one final girl. Hopefully, if we do this again before the summer is over, Doug, we can pick 2 other fun slasher movies. But I say maybe next time, maybe let our Patreon listeners choose the final girl and the location.
Yeah, please choose for us because you can see it's already disjointed as it is.
It's a bit disjointed, but I think we made a funny crossover movie.
I think so. And like I said, with our DP of movies, you get Larry Drake as a deranged Dr. Giggles, giggling the whole way and making bad medical puns, and you get a straight bussin' simp bear. And that's misogynistic as fuck.
And Julie James off of her rockers just screaming, "What?"
And it's like, shut up. Like, seriously, it's like they all belong in the mental asylum. They all probably came from the same mental asylum. Probably. At the twist ending, you realize it's like, wait a minute, you were my cellmate. And it's like, yes, I was, and that's why I can't stop spinning. I need my meds. Okay,
Doug, before I end this, I had to ask you, since you were a boy in the 90s too, were you more of a Nev Campbell crush or a Jennifer Love Hewitt crush?
I was a Jennifer Love huge tits crush.
Me too. I mean, I appreciated Nev Campbell and Scream as a boy, but there was something about Jennifer Love Hewitt. I was like, oh, damn.
Nev Campbell just seemed too much like a mom pants character.
Kinda. We're like an early mom, you know?
Yeah. Honestly, like the weirdest thing, I had the biggest crush on Pam Springsteen from Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, Silly Killer Girl. Right up here. Anyway, but guys, do we have any plugs before heading out, Doug?
Yes. So if you guys have a Roku, definitely check out B Movie TV. They're showing a bunch of we have a bunch of crazy shows lined up for you. We showed Grandpa Oates. We've showed Friday Night Action, Saturday Night Terrors with Yahira, and a lot of cool shows in between. You get Ken's Livid Videos of the Week. So that's Saturdays at 8 p.m. So if you like things like Faces of Death or those things you see on like USA Crime, and then you get Ken's commentary. He's like the guy from The Simpsons, Otto, the bus driver.
Yeah.
So imagine like seeing like a fatal crash accident, and he's like, "Fuck, that was livid, man. No, let's see this video with some titties."
It's a big juxtaposition. Then you're like, whoa.
But yeah, B Movie TV really is the Wild West of the streaming platforms, and it's free too. And then you also get Damn That's Scary. Micah has been coming on, guesting on the shows for quite a few episodes, actually. So, check out Damn That's Scary. They're a fun podcast, too. They're like my morning coffee. So they've got high energy. And
sadly, I don't have any plugs, guys. I'm just happy to be back on another episode. So
you're sitting on a plug now.
Yeah, I technically am.
Well, I didn't hear you. Oh, what do you got to say? Yes,
anyways,
Daddy.
Guys. Come on. Anyway. Okay.
My neighbor just came outside and he's looking up. He's like, "What?" I just said, "Yes, Daddy." And he's like looking up. He's like, "Hey, that's not a Christian conservative term that I." Tell you, we got a lot of boomers here.
Anyways, guys, this is Coker and Doug signing off. Goodbye and good
die.